And hello again everyone, and welcome to something that I actually don't do quite often, which is gaming news. Now, granted, these might appear minor gaming news to some. Most of you will probably not be affected unless you obviously like the games in question. And heck, even then you might not be affected, let's be honest. This is just me wanting to yap about the intricacies, both between studios, between launch dates, and between two games that I kinda vibe with quite a bit. So, without any further ado, let's get into how I even found out about this, because normally, it's either, whenever drama like this happens, usually someone else either yaps about it and I see it on Twitter, which for once it was not the case, or, and this is quite a fair bit less common, at least in my case, I just find several videos talking about it and I'm like at one point, okay, I'm curious, you have my attention, what is going on? So, let me see if I can find it. I did have most of these saved up. Okay, so first video on the subject was by Action RPG. That's the first one that I found talking about the thing. And his own is pretty much a rant time, as he called it. Path of Exile 2 and Last Epoch dropping at the same time. Fun! And technically yes. Now, here's how the average normal person that's not brain-rotted by Twitter and so on will go. Oh my god! 2 updates! I can play more! That's how, however, is not how things are behind the scenes, nor how they are with a lot of other people. So let's dissect this a little bit. Both Path of Exile 2, as well as Last Epoch, and even Path of Exile 1, let's be honest, Path of Exile 1 is, in my experience, a bit closer to Last Epoch than Path of Exile 2. Path of Exile 2 has a very specific vibe that it's going for. Hence why I don't really feel like it's the main competitor? Question mark? But I think both the developers and especially the community kind of wants to make it feel that way. And part of it is how... what's the word I'm looking for? How abandoned Path of Exile 1 feels like compared to Path of Exile 2. Like, it took so much controversy from the community to get them to say like, okay, yeah, we dropped the ball, we kind of forgot to update it. Everyone went wild. Because the plan, the original plan that all of the Path of Exile players were sold on, both games will continue at the same rate, unaffected one by the other. So that was a big fucking lie. That said, it can also be said that for quite a while, Last Epoch hasn't really done much in the terms of updates, until they dropped the announcement for Tombs of the Erased, which I should be bringing up over here in a second. Which one is it? Is it you? I hope it's you. Okay, yeah, this. I'll just make this. There we go. Okay, I don't know why it's looking so weird on one screen, but it's looking fine in this on stream, so you know what, we'll just go with it. So they dropped the trailer, quite a bit of cinematics, some gameplay. That's not the issue. The thing is, there's a lot of content here, new factions. There's I'm not even going to hide it. This is pretty much an upgrade of the Atlas system that Last Epoch, that Path of Exile has. I have played until I've grown quite familiar with it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kinda happy they're nabbing it and making their own. Because, at least from what I'm reading here, the Last Epoch version is a lot more approachable, a lot more friendly, has a little bit more randomness without taking away control from the player. So normally this would be just good news. You could normally, again, the normal person could just look at all of the news, and instead of controversy, they would be like, oh, 2 games to play. Excellent. But again, that's kind of not what's happening here, because we're getting into that. But they've added a lot of things that people have been wanting from both games, not just Last Epoch, but a lot of the things added here. For example, mastery specialization has been, we're going to ignore this one because this is specific to Last Epoch. A lot of things have been requested for years. A lot of loot has been shown and added. Also, nice dragon. I see that. I'm gonna wanna fight that. A lot of quality of life. And I have been checking the streams. There's so much stuff that's not even in this first announcement here. So far, so good. They made this announcement a while ago. And remember how I said that Path of Exile for the longest time kind of didn't have any updates? So the second one just dropped an update and an update on its updates. Funny how that works, but stick with me here. The thing is, both of the updates for Last Epoch and for Path of Exile 2 are more or less dropping on the same day. Like, someone did the goddamn math for it, it's like less than 48 hours apart. And let's be honest, it's basically the same day. Now this can cause issues for a couple of reasons. First of all, the size of the company. Second of all, the player base. Now normally, when games are in competition with each other and they are aware of that, and trust me, these two are very much aware of that, they want to spread out their releases so they don't exactly compete. Something which other companies have been completely oblivious to and have suffered the consequences of. Now don't get me wrong, a good game will find the players. The issue happens when it's either a good game versus an excellent game, releasing at the same time for the same player base, or two equally good games, or at least similar enough in quality, releasing at the same time for the same player base. In this case, well, I think I found a different one. Was it? No, that's the trailer. So, I wasn't even aware that which one was this? Hold on. It wasn't this.
Peggy 18.
Oh yeah, it was No Rest for the Wicked. I completely forgot this game existed. Not gonna lie. I remember it. I have it on my wish list. I completely forgot about it. It seems to have had a rocky launch, but it's making its way up now. So, yeah, always up for that one. Still has a few negatives here. Here's what they say. Okay, that's a bit of cap, because I've seen some of the things. Okay, so there's a lot of people who don't like the game, it seems, but there's also that much more who do like it. I'm curious overall. Who knows, maybe I'll look into this one as well. But going back to this, even Diablo 4 is coming up with a new season in a similar time frame as all 4 of them. No Rest for the Wicked is, from what I've heard, getting a complete overhaul. Also, the video is by Rax. Stentorax, hope I pronounced the name right. He made this nice little sketch with what the update will bring to all of these games that are pretty much all of them releasing around the same period, like within the same week-ish, I think. Yeah, I might be wrong, but I think most of these are within the same week or so. All of these are for the same type of player. Do you see the issue here? And it gets even more complicated when you realize that Path of Exile and the Last Epoch, well, at least I think not all of Last Epoch, I think partially. I think partially Last Epoch is, 11th Hour Games, because they are the developers of Last Epoch. I think a part of them are, what's the word for it? Are owned by Tencent. Meanwhile, 100% of Path of Exile 2 are owned by Tencent. So it's also a conflict of interest there. And as Action RPG has pointed it out, because this is the reason why I got the announcement here. 2 days after Last Epoch update. Come on, guys. I started to play Hunter, but this is a low blow to 11-hour games. And there's quite a few people in here if you keep scrolling. Where was it? Oh, I really pity Last Epoch. They postponed the new patch and then we got Wi-Fi PoE 2.0. Wait, the boat can drop at the same time. Yeah, as I've said, both have had a long time with basically no updates. And that doesn't mean that they haven't updated the game at all. Let's be clear. Not the missing part, the important bit, new content, I should say. Not just new updates, new content. And yeah, it's been a few months. And all of them are dropping it at the same time. Now on the surface, the dev teams seem pretty friendly with each other. Like if you go back on Twitter, I checked it, well, I was at work. Don't worry about it, I was basically on break, standby, whatever you want to call it, but I checked out work. They do seem to be fairly friendly, at least in terms of social media. And I'm fairly certain some of the people who worked at... what I'm trying to say is that they've had a few common employees over the course of time, every now and then. Sometimes they swap back, sometimes they stick with the new company, whatever. Point is, they are aware of each other. They know each other. They have been communicating with each other. Hell, for all we know, some of them have playtested the others' updates. Thing is, when you set dates like this, you're essentially picking a fight and you know it. And how do I say this? Someone has pointed out the views as well are an interesting little thing. Thank you for the breath. But one of them is clearly getting a little bit more attention, because I'm pretty sure this hit 1 million like day one. I might be wrong, but I'm fairly certain this hit like 1 million views day one, or at least close to. Meanwhile, Path of Exile is kind of lacking in that regard. So we all know at least who's more aware of the update coming currently. Question is, and here's the biggest question that I have to pose to everyone. It's a rhetorical question, of course. You can feel free to answer it. But what are the chances that Path of Exile, or sorry, rather Grind Gear Games or Tencent, whichever one of the higher ups made the call, saw the update for Last Epoch and they were like, we are so cooked, deep fried, seasoned, whatever you youngsters say these days, if people get to play the new update, because they're probably gonna stick with it. And we are not certain we can make something to pull people back. So instead, what we're gonna do is rush our own update out the gate and force people to pick and choose. And that, I'm not gonna lie, if that's the case, the way that I have just described the situation, not only is that a low blow, but it might just work. Because people forget one very important thing. Time is limited for mortals. Even more so for gamers. We need to pick and choose. The time when we had all the time in the world to game is over. Long gone. Not necessarily because we have less time in a day. At least I don't think so. I haven't checked any temporal disturbances recently. But the main reason is, right now, at this moment in time, there are a lot of good games to play and enjoy. So question is, how would you have the most fun? What is worth playing? And that's a question that I feel like might have fueled the choices made here. Because all 4 games are kind of releasing in a similar time frame. All 4 games fall into the same genre and are, I would argue that they are the bigger currently in their genre. And hell, even if they were not the bigger ones, there are other games that in the same genre that have released quite recently. Like, I even made a post about it. Hold on, where was it? And I have played a little bit of it. Yeah, literally this one. I played it right today. Drinking the Banished. Now, there's not that much content for the game out yet. It's currently in alpha, beta, whatever you want to call it. It's early access, let's be honest. Reception is mixed, as you can expect. There were a few issues at the start with crashes and whatnot. I've heard those have already been fixed. I didn't have those, so I cannot express myself on that. And a lot of the things are questionable, because I feel like people, just reading this right here tells me that people didn't really jam with the game. Personally, the skill system, is it confusing? I would say it's not confusing, but it lacks a bit of information that you kind of have to fish for over on Twitter. Not just the skill system, but a lot of stuff in-game that should be either in tooltips or guides or whatever simply isn't there. And again, I'm forced to remind people, early access. That doesn't mean you shouldn't complain about it. Don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean you shouldn't comment or give it a thumbs down. All I'm saying is that things aren't as bad as a lot of people are making it out to be here. At least as far as the skill system and the game feeling bland. This part, I feel like the game has a lot of room for improvement there. It's again a matter of having the content. And in terms of content, this one launched kind of bare bones as far as I've seen. Although the foundation is there, so they could build up a lot of things from it. So this is one game that I would personally keep an eye on, hopefully. Now I'm not gonna lie, once I figured out how the skill system works, combining the element of the dragon with the element of the character or the skill that the character uses, and if you manage to synchronize them, then they just become, you essentially cast both of them at once. So kind of a doubles on the skill, but it takes the element that the enemy is weakest to, and it changes the animation and everything. I'm just gonna put it out there. The principle is interesting. The explanation for it is almost non-existent, however. But that's what I'm saying. a lot of games are starting to do interesting things. And in terms of visuals, this one is pretty out there. In terms of the enemy designs and whatnot, again, I would argue this one has a bit of an edge compared to the others. And that brings us back to this little graph. And the game that I've talked about isn't even in here. And there's more than just that one. Like hell, I was even mentioning it on Twitter a while ago. I am working on sort of a genre guide specifically for the action RPG genre. Like Last Epoch, Diablo, stuff like that. I am at over 8 games right now. All of them currently playable. A lot of them offline as well. And my god, some of them continue to surprise me, and they're some of the oldest in the genre. How other games haven't been able to copy their success in that specific area that those games did extremely well, I will never know. But this also puts into perspective just how important these updates are for these games. Not just to retain their players, but also attract new ones. Maybe even, just throwing that out there, maybe even poach some of the players from, let's say, Diablo 4 and add them to the other ones. But yeah, it's an interesting situation we find ourselves in. Because, I'm not gonna lie, I like this level of competition. It can end disastrous, like worst case scenario, only one game will be good. Let's say, for example, which one would be the worst option? Let's say by some miracle, because I'm gonna be honest, I have zero trust in Diablo 4 right now. By some miracle, Diablo 4 has the best season ever. It steals players. All of the other updates flop so hard that Diablo 4 actually steals players from the other games. And then the other games either close or are bought by Activision Blizzard. I'm not gonna lie, that would be horrible. I'm hoping that won't happen. What I hope, what I pray, is that all of these, yes, even Diablo 4, I'm hoping it's a good update for the people who still play it. I'm not gonna be one of them. But even so, I am praying all of these updates. Tomb of the Erased, patch 0.2. I'm praying all of them are a huge success. Because I've said it before, and I'll say it again. To the normal gamer, this is, oh, 2 cakes. Excellent. And I sincerely do want us to have 2 or even more cakes to eat and enjoy. And hey, it's the best type of cake. It's the one that you don't get fat off of. But yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about. Because I feel like I have a little bit of an... Oh, also, one other things that I really liked about the Action RPG's video. The Mushu start.
Alright, that's it. Dishonor. Dishonor on your whole family. Make a note of this. Dishonor on you. Dishonor on your cow.
Sorry, I had to play that. That's so funny to me. I need to rewatch that movie. So good. Dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow. But yeah, all things considered, I do hope these updates will be well received. I hope they will elevate the games that they are applied to. I hope they will actually be well optimized. Because God knows I've seen exemplary work of optimization in recent years. And a lot of them were not from big developers. Like, seriously, let me just put this into perspective for a second. Where are you? Warframe. My dear. You see this? Size of installation. installation. 24.72 gigabytes. My Warframe is updated, by the way. It's up to date. If I start it, no update will begin. I need to mention this again. Warframe is less than 25 gigs. Let that miracle of engineering sink into your brain for a second. Let it sprout seeds. Actually, wait, that's not how that works. Hold on, I jumped a few steps. Go back. Let it sprout roots and grow. So you realize how ridiculous it is that Warframe is 24 gigs. Meanwhile, goddamn Path of Exile, of all things, is almost 50. Last epoch, how much are you? Okay, last epoch, you're actually less than Warframe. It's not the best defense you have, but it's not the worst. At least some level of optimization went into this. Unlike you. Also, out of curiosity, Path of Exile 2. 87 gigs. 87 gigs. That's more than 3 times Warframe size. Can you even begin to imagine 3 times the size of Warframe? I can't. I legitimately can't. And here's the thing, I'm fairly certain, not even Guild Wars. Hold on, I'm not showing that. Okay, good. I'm fairly certain not even bloody Guild Wars is that big. I'm gonna check my installation folder. Yeah, a full-on 3D MMO. $74 gigs. This is not exactly an MMO, mind you. I want this to be written in stone. This is not exactly an MMO. This is not exactly open world. It's bigger in size than in Guild Wars 2 with all of its updates. And this game isn't even completely out yet. Now, sure, you might argue, oh, but the texture quality is so much better. Yeah, it's 18K compatible. If you are one of those people, you see that little X right there? Or sorry, not that one. You see that X right there? Yeah, click it right now. Okay, I think I have done my rambling for tonight. Not gonna lie, after the work, I was kind of planning on not streaming tonight. I was like, you know what, maybe I can keep it short. Maybe I can just yap a little bit about what I do know. And then we can just end it, have it be a short and sweet little stream that maybe I'll edit into something better if I find the time. And if not, it's gonna just be there for anyone who's interested. But yeah, thank you everyone for being here. Hope you've had a wonderful time. And I do have to ask, in the comments of the YouTube video, if you are watching this on YouTube or just in general, if we're friends, just hit me up and we'll have a chat, why not? Or maybe you can just add me on Twitter, who knows. Or on Blue Sky, I'm there as well. Look, what I'm trying to say is, if you are excited for any of these games, if you have played any of these games, which ones are you looking forward to having the new update or the new things? Maybe you're not even looking forward to even if you've played them. Or maybe you were looking to get into them but couldn't find the time. Personally, I think when an update drops like this, it's probably a good time to get a fresh perspective on things. So even if you haven't played it or you've heard maybe very good things or maybe very bad things, maybe it's just one of the best times to just get in and see what happens. That's how I treat a lot of my games, how I pick them, and more often than not I'm pleasantly surprised. But yeah, for now that will have to do. Good day, good night, and see you all the next time. Probably with some lies of P, because I'm not gonna lie, I want to get back into it. I want to see where the lies go, I want to see where the tale ends, and I want to just have fun with a good game. And hey, if you wanted a gaming recommendation, there it is, Lies of P. So far, fantastic game, and I've only heard good things about it. So yeah, see you all later. And thank you for accompanying me on my yapping session. Not much was said, but I do hope this keeps everyone a little bit more informed about how things work.